authority, the ability, and the tools to determine if drivers are impaired by legal or illegal drugs. And because drug-impaired drivers can pose just as great a risk as drunk drivers, they face the same penalties, like the loss of their driver's license, a criminal record, fines, and more. A message from the RCMP, the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, and Arrive Alive Drive.
Hey everybody, how are you doing? It's your boy DC, Thursday night host of Rogers Out of the Fog.
Right, you kind of got to make your own fun.
Yeah.
Which was a transition for me, going into the morning show here.
Proud. Keep doing the amazing work, will you?
They're learning about how to hire people.
20 years of local matter, so join me every Thursday night and see what's going on in the fog.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Laurabel. On today's episode, we have a great show ahead for you. We'll be joined by NLCU CEO Glenn Bolger and head nerd mom Kelly Ryan. So sit back, relax, and we'll get right into it. Welcome back, everyone, and we're now joined by Glenn Bolger, who is CEO of NLCU, also known as the Newfoundland and Labrador Credit Union. Glenn, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Laurabel. It's a pleasure to be here today.
I'm so excited to have you because anytime I'm driving around our province, I see NLCU everywhere. So this is a great chance for our viewers to get to know a little bit about what NLCU is if they haven't wandered into your locations already. So I think we'll start there.
Sure. And actually, we have new signage, so you're probably seeing NLCU everywhere. It's important to include the U because if you see a NLC, it's a completely different business.
Fun, but not you.
Yeah, we can't help them there. So NLCU, we are Newfoundland and Labrador Credit Union. For listeners who don't know who we are the largest credit union in the province. Okay. And what's a credit union?
Yes.
Well, essentially we provide all of the same services as a charter bank would provide. So anything that you'd find at any banking institution, we would have all of those services. The difference being is that when you have your business at a credit union, you own the credit union. So you are actually the members actually own us. Okay. So you say, well, what does that mean, Glenn? Like, how does that change things? And the change, Laurabel, is that we always do what's best for the person. So we're not motivated by profitability, by shareholders making money. It's always do what's in the best interest of the person in front of us, and always provide them with the best product and the best service so they can save money. We always say we don't like to give people mortgages, we like to give them homes. We don't like to give people loans, we like to give them vehicles. We don't like to give them lines of credit, we like to give them dreams come true. So it's really do what's right for the person.
Okay, so speaking of doing what's right, they have you as their CEO, so clearly we're doing what's right. So can we explain to people a little bit more about who you are and what your role is within the credit union?
Sure. So as you mentioned, my name is Glenn Bolger. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of NLCU, and I'm new to my position since January of last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I succeeded a wonderful CEO. Her name is Alison Chater-Lubbies, and I worked with Alison for many, many years, and then I had the opportunity to take this position when she retired. So I've been with the credit union for 23 years.
Oh my goodness.
And we have a lot of long-term employees. So We have branches all across the province. We are located in most of the hub centres, all the way from St. John's to Stephenville, and then we have a branch in Labrador City.
Okay.
So 12 branches all in total.
All right.
We have $750 million in assets, which is essentially the $750 million in deposits and $750 million in loans and mortgages. And we would compete, of course, as I mentioned, directly against the chartered banks. And we would provide great rates, great service to our members. And we've been in business since 1957. So the credit union is not new. We are one of 8 credit unions in the province. There are 7 other credit unions besides ourselves. Actually, on that note, we can actually serve each other's members.
See, we were talking about that, and I was saying, I know I can't walk into a TD and get some Scotiabank style representation. So what does it mean that since all the credit unions are connected?
So it's a great question. So in Atlantic Canada, all credit unions are on the same banking network. So we actually own our own banking system here in Atlantic Canada. So because of that, if you're a member of NLCU, you can walk into a credit union in New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and do your business at the counter no matter what credit union it is. So we actually then, as a result of that, have more locations than any charter bank would have throughout Atlantic Canada, because you can literally go into any credit union and get served. So it gives us a real competitive advantage, because your access to your money is everywhere.
Yeah.
If you're in a rural community, if you're in an urban center, you can always access your money. And all of our ATMs are interconnected as well. And you pay no fees, which is always good. So
if I wasn't already trying to be a member of NLCU, now would be the time to
we'll
do it.
sign you up after the interview.
So, let me get back. We'll get
And you
this
can also
sorted.
go online to open a membership. You don't have to come in.
So fully
we
accessible.
have all digital services, so you can open up your account fully digital online and never have to come inside our doors.
Okay. Well, I love going inside your doors because the people are very friendly. So aside from that, so NLCU is very committed to the communities in which you guys are located in every capacity. So why is that? I know people could bank anywhere, and yes, there's ownership, but you guys go the next step. Why is that?
I think because it's really important. As a credit union, we've always wanted to be part of the fabric of the community. And it's easy to say that you do things for the community, but we really want to be in the community doing things that benefit the community. It's really why we exist, because we only exist because the members do their banking with us. So on that note, we have a really exciting event and drive happening over September and October. So between the 5th of September till the 31st of October, we are now accepting non-perishable food items at all 12 of our locations. And we will be donating all of that food at the end of October to the food banks across the province. Last year, the food drive we actually took in about 600 food items, or 60 bags of groceries went to the various food banks throughout the province last year. So this year is going to be our 2nd annual food drive, and we're really excited. We had a tremendous amount pouring from the community. A lot of people just came in with bags of food from their cupboards. And so if you'd like to support us, we'd love to be able to help people out there this time of year. And you know, Laurabel, it's getting harder and harder. You probably hear a lot these days about food insecurity.
Absolutely.
And you know, here in Newfoundland and Labrador right now, it's a really hard time. The University of Toronto actually did a study on food insecurity in Newfoundland and Labrador, and 1 in 4 children right now in Newfoundland and Labrador are food insecure. And if you look at the population as a whole, about 17.9% of our population, or 90,000 individuals, are food insecure in Newfoundland and Labrador. So we looked at that as a credit union and said, you know what, the best way we can really help the community right now is to have this food drive. And the food drive is just a piece of what we do. We have a kindness committee.
Okay.
A kindness committee.
All right.
So our kindness committee is made up of representatives from all of our branches, all the way from St. John's, Carbonear, Gander, Grand Falls, Corner Brook, Stephenville, and Lab City. The kindness committee decided to arrange this food drive and it's actually in recognition of a big day for us in October.
Okay.
So the third Thursday in October is International Credit Union Day.
Okay.
And International Credit Union Day is celebrating its 75th anniversary in the world.
Oh, wow.
So there's actually close to 60,000 credit unions in the world.
Oh, wow.
We're just one of 60,000.
The best of 60,000. Correct yourself.
Oh, yeah, we think so. But, we're here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Of course we are.
Absolutely.
But so in celebration of that International Credit Union Day, we're now going to have this food drive annually.
Okay.
Because food security just continues to be such a big issue. And, how better than to help our community than to actually help Newfoundlanders and Labradorians put food on the table this time of year.
Oh, that's so very true. Food insecurity is definitely something we have seen on the rise. We've had Food First on here before, and we've talked about it, how it affects seniors and youth differently. So I wanted to ask, so I know you guys have your kindness committee, and you guys do a lot of good. The food drive is just one of the many ways the credit union gives back. So what are some of the other ways that you guys support the many communities that you find yourselves in?
Oh my gosh, we're going to need a couple of interviews.
That's fine. We have time dedicated to this.
Well, actually, it's really interesting that you asked me that question because we have a charitable foundation. So it's called the NLCU Charitable Foundation. And if you're a charity out there listening to this interview, by all means, Google us. We love to have applications from charities that we give money to. And tomorrow, the 26th of September, we will actually be having a golf tournament called the Rod Benson Memorial Golf Tournament. And that golf tournament is now in its 22nd year.
Wow.
And our estimated raise of funds from that tournament will be about $40,000 for the community. So every penny that we raise for our foundation goes back to a charity.
Okay.
We just finished our walkathon. We have an annual walkathon as part of our foundation every year. We did that in June. It raised just about $32,000.
Oh my goodness.
So all of that money goes back to the community, and there's no money there's no administration costs. All the administration of the foundation is done by the credit union. So any costs that the foundation has to raise that money, the credit union bears that cost.
Okay.
So in total every year, we raise in just a little bit more than $100,000, and every penny of it goes to charities in the province. And the charities are chosen by our employees.
Oh, so it's just a feedback loop of do good in the communities you find yourselves, the communities give back to you, and you guys just continue that cycle.
It is.
Okay, so that's fantastic. So if people want to find out how to get in touch with NLCU, where can we find you guys?
Well, we can be found anywhere. Digitally, we're at nlcu.com, of course. You can contact us, our 1-800 number, which is our members, we call it our Member Solution Center, 1-800-563-3300.
Okay.
And you can also find our foundation online. It's nlcucfc.com. Of course, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn. So
everywhere that we can look.
Yeah, and for the food drive, I should mention we have 5 locations in the St. John's metro area. And I'll just mention them so that people know exactly where they could drop off the food if they're interested in helping us with our food drive. We have Torby Road, Water Street, Freshwater Road, Mount Pearl, Conception Bay South, and then we have Carbonear, Clarenville, Gander, Grand Falls, Windsor, Corner Brook, Stephenville, and Labrador City. And the other thing you could also do, of course, is if you don't have any food in your cupboard that you want to donate, we are accepting cash donations for the Community Food Sharing Association. And under our campaign of Open a Can of Generosity. And for every $10 that the Community Food Sharing Association receives, it's $205 in food purchases.
Well, Glenn, I want to thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure talking to you and getting to find out all the good that you guys are doing.
Thank you, Laurabel. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having us here today. Really appreciate it.
And we'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. We're now joined by Kelly Ryan, also known as Head Nerd Mom with Nerd Mom Nutrition. Kelly, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So I'm so excited to have you here because we have connected multiple times before on all things nutrition and health, keeping small humans fed.
Yes.
But you do a lot more than that. So let's start with who is the head nerd mom? Mouthful.
So basically I help companies level up their health and wellness so that their employees and leaders can feel productive, creative, focused while they're at work, but then still have the energy for fun with their families or friends at home.
Okay, so before we deep dive into that, because I know I want to spend a lot of time talking about that, you also have a show that runs on Rogers called Nerd Mom's Cooking Adventures.
I sure do.
How was your last couple seasons?
A lot of fun. Like, it's actually pretty cool because me and my kids, we're focusing on using real live whole foods, making quick, easy, healthy, nutrient-dense recipes. But we always put a little story into it where, we're helping the piglies or defeating the health-zapping supervillains or something. And we're actually being renewed for season 2 starting October 4th. So yay! Check it out. So it's a lot of fun. The kids are in it. They've got their own little chef's jackets with their names. So it's basically making healthy eating, healthy living fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did healthy eating and healthy living become Kelly's thing?
I've always loved cooking. I've always loved food.
Me too.
Yeah. But I've also always loved health and wellness. So I can remember being like 11 and making omelets and being 13 and saying, we need to replace the white bread with whole wheat bread. And, I remember being the one doing that,
Okay.
But then as I got older, after I had my little girl, I was looking at her and I was like, you're a little clean slate and I really want you to be as healthy as possible. So I went back to school and learned natural nutrition.
Okay.
And from there, I just grew and merged all of my backgrounds together to where I am now.
And now you are Nerd Mom's Nutrition.
And now I'm, the head nerd mom of Nerd Mom Nutrition. And it's all about making healthy living approachable, practical, fun, because health and wellness should not be a stressor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with your focus now into the corporate sector and businesses, what does that look like?
So again, it's about making it fun, practical, approachable, because we spend a lot of time at work.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it's the importance of supporting the employees as well as the leaders, owners, everybody, in health and wellness, whatever that looks like for an individual company. Because, you don't want having to work basically to be a barrier for wellness, but it really is, it's good business sense for a company to include health and wellness in their company, right? It comes back tenfold, because your employees are going to be more focused, they're going to have more energy, they're going to feel more productive, because the fact is if you feel good, if you're taking care of yourself, you are increasing all of those things, which is in turn going to affect the bottom line of a company, right? Yeah.
So let's say I'm an employer running my own business and I was like, my staff just isn't performing optimally. And I decided I found Nerd Mom's Nutrition and I make a call. What does that initial connection look like?
So what we do is we basically chat out what is going to best help your company right away, right now. Is it cooking demo? Is it something small, one-off type of thing, a cooking demo, a live talk? Is it digging in a little bit more and maybe creating a week-long challenge, or having a workshop that's really going to, dig in a bit further? Or are you looking at something bigger again, like creating a year's worth of health and wellness offerings, or actually creating policies and procedures around a health and wellness plan, So it really does depend on what an individual company needs. Smaller companies maybe are at a point where they just want a couple of live talks or cooking demos, or even a live talk and a workshop to sort of solidify the message, Whereas when you're getting a little bit bigger, maybe you're actually looking to create the bigger programs or plan out your year, that sort of thing, yeah.
So you've been at this for a little bit, but what was the educational background that got you to being nerd mom?
My background is a bit eclectic, a bit varied. So out of high school, I went to cooking school in Ottawa. I went to Le Cordon Bleu. And then I went to MUN and got my business degree.
Okay.
Following that, I got a background in quality and internal auditing, quality policy and internal auditing.
Okay.
So that's just an offshoot. And then I became a registered holistic nutritionist around the time my daughter was born. Following that, I became a certified virtual coach.
Okay.
And then lastly, a certified culinary nutrition expert, which basically marries together my cooking background and my nutrition background.
Okay.
So mixing all that together.
We get head nerd mom of nutrition.
Exactly.
So as you've been doing this business and it's been a whirlwind for you, are there any key moments that have stood out for you that reaffirmed, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm meant to do, this is what my community needs and deserves?
Yeah, when you have a client and you hear that I left their kitchen smelling delicious, that's always really nice, you know. But even just being able to have the conversations, and knowing that you're truly helping and truly making a difference. I mean, I've done live talks where, especially if it's a smaller group, it ends up being a bit more conversational, and then you can really help with actual real issues instead of the higher level stuff, So when you're in the middle of a live talk and someone says, okay, well, I'm having trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
And how many people are having trouble sleeping or are dealing with stress, and we know that all of this then works together, so whether it's, affecting your digestion or your sleep or your stress or whatever. So when you're able to really work through some of those issues, it really makes a huge difference.
So for people who are watching and listening and saying, I might need this, I'm not quite sure where to start, I'm not a business, but I still want to connect with Kelly and find out how she can support me, my family, my community, what would you say would be a great first step for them?
The first step is whatever is the easiest to maintain when things get busy and hard. And that's 100% it, So is it starting by drinking water? Then start there, because our brains are actually made up of about 70 to 75% water. So if you want to feel better, water's a great place to start.
Writing that on my checklist of things that I'm not doing but should be doing more of.
But I mean, even just focusing on real foods, work on your stress levels, right? But start with the place that you can honestly maintain when things get busy, because even if you lead the most zen life, things still get busy. Things, stuff comes up. So you want to create those habits over time and take the baby steps, So don't try and go from eating McDonald's every day or drinking no water to 12 cups of water. That's just not sustainable. Can you add in 1 cup of water? Can you add in 1 vegetable? It's what are those little tiny micro steps that you can do that over time you can build on. Yeah.
And for an organization, what would you say for a company that's sitting there being like, we want to boost our employees, other than calling you, because that should be on their to-do list immediately?
Yes.
What would you say they can do to support their staff?
Start with your culture. I heard someone say, who was it? Peter Drucker, I think his name was, say that culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah. And your culture can be a strategic decision. And, it's starting to build that culture of health and wellness, and that, it's going to take time. Rome wasn't built in a day, and I think they say a full paradigm shift takes about 5 years, but it can be little things, instead of everybody going to a break room for coffee, if it's a nice day, why not have a walking coffee or a walking meeting, You can even have a walking meeting inside, whatever, Putting up messages like posters and stuff around. But the big thing that a leader can do is to start living it themselves.
Awesome. Kelly, it's been a pleasure talking with you. I really love sharing your message, and I can't wait for people to check you out.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back, everyone. I want to give a special thank you to my guests for joining me today. If you're interested in finding out more about Nerd Mom Nutrition, feel free to check out Kelly R. Ryan on LinkedIn or nerdmomnutrition.com. And if you're looking to donate to the NLCU's food drive this coming fall, make sure to check out your NLCU locations by visiting NLCU on all social media. Find out the closest place for you to donate. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you guys next time.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
I'm Wendell Clark with a word about winning. We all know it takes a team effort in any sport and with any challenge. You can be a part of the